Hey everyone, this is Chris.
And I'm Walnuts.
We recently attended PAX Unplugged 2021 in Philadelphia and got to see a lot of different tabletop games being spotlighted.
And while you can hear us talk about more of those on episode 383 of PodQuest, our weekly show available on all major podcast platforms, that's not what we're talking about today.
Nope. Today we're here to talk about our time chatting with the folks behind the upcoming tabletop game, Jurassic World: The Legacy of Isla Nublar.
It's a Funko Games project being developed by Prospero Hall, who have a 20-plus year history making tabletop games that have been a part of Funko Games for the last few years.
Jurassic World: The Legacy of Isla Nublar is the largest game they've worked on to date and has been in development for about 2 years.
Because they don't want to leave anything out, the game just kept getting bigger as they brought in more and more content from the franchise.
The game will start before the movies, then span the 3 original Jurassic Park films, plus Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, before wrapping up with an original story.
No spoilers for Jurassic World Dominion, unfortunately.
Funko Games says this is going to be a proper legacy game.
You're going to be putting stickers on stuff, breaking things, scratching things off, all the permanent stuff you'd expect from a legacy tabletop game.
It will consist of 12 adventures, plus a tutorial adventure to get you used to the flow of the game before you have to make any permanent changes.
The tutorial will be replayable, so you could introduce new players to it with that, and make sure it's something they want to continue on with.
It will also have options to keep playing after you've completed the 12 core adventures. So even though you won't have the story to continue, you'll be able to keep playing and explore parts of the game you maybe never got to during the main experience.
It's nice to have a legacy game that isn't just a one and done.
Like any legacy game, though, once you're in the main adventure, whether you succeed or fail, you keep moving forward. If Adventure 1 ends in disaster, you still move on to Adventure 2. The characters you unlock in the first one just may not move on with you.
Because of the legacy nature, each adventure can only be played once, as folks from Funko Games said during our demo. You can't unmake a dinosaur, and the park must open.
The game comes with 13 adventure envelopes, 12 main plus the 1 tutorial. 12 dinosaur miniatures that are also scenes from a film, like a raptor forcing into a room from the original film.
The miniatures are really nice, too. They're detailed and feel sturdy, and you can immediately recognize what dinosaur it is and what scene it's from.
And that's just the 4 we were able to see during the demo. Who knows what we'll find in the other 8 boxes.
Depending on how you play, you might not even unlock all the dinosaurs.
There will also be characters to unlock and play as throughout the adventure. The game is meant to be 2 to 4 players, but could be played solo as well.
The game will have more than 20 characters, which will be both original creations with the input of Amblin Entertainment, as well as those from the films like Dr. Henry Wu and John Hammond.
Each adventure envelope will come with all of the info you'll need for that adventure, including a guide styled after 1950s pulp comics.
Each adventure will consist of 5 rounds, so you'll have 5 rounds for the players to complete their goals. Those goals will be in the form of cards and may include things like opening a genetics lab.
And may also include dinosaur encounters to shake things up a bit.
You'll also get new characters in each adventure. Characters will move along with you as well, but you don't have to play or use the same characters in each adventure.
Some characters have skills you may need more than others, so you'll want to pick the right team for the right adventure.
Plus, who knows how many characters will actually make it from one adventure to the next.
Each round is going to consist of 9 actions, and each player gets up to 2 actions. Actions will be listed on the character cards and could include things like building a pen to keep the T-Rex from eating everyone.
Or you can set up buildings like labs or visitor centers. But once you do, that's where they will be for all the adventures.
In the tutorial mission we saw, the first challenge to overcome was to survey the island. So the characters take turns exploring the sectors and learning what they can.
The only real difference between the tutorial and the proper game will be the use of tokens instead of stickers.
And in-universe lore, the tutorial is just a dream that Hammond is having while on his way to the island.
Makes you wonder why he'd still open the park if the tutorial goes really sideways.
Anyway, if you make a mistake, you will get some kind of consequence, which are numbered tokens. If you get 5 or more total consequences, you lose the adventure.
But like we mentioned before, you fail forward. Sure, you failed Adventure 1, but Adventure 2 still happens.
The game board itself is broken up into 6 sectors, with colored areas indicating if it's home to herbivores or carnivores.
And if you're not in a sector, you don't actually know what's going on in it. You'll never have all the information.
Aside from the outdoor portions of the island, as you progress, you'll create buildings, and you can enter the buildings, which generally involves some kind of puzzle or minigame to figure out.
The indoor areas are separate cards that you move your character token onto when you're there.
And just because you think it's safe doesn't mean it is. If a dinosaur was chasing you, they could still follow you into a building.
As for the puzzles and minigames, the one we were given involved gene sequencing where you had to move your character along to complete a sequencing.
And they can be done with multiple people, so it's not just up to a single player every time.
You'll also be able to edit dinosaurs by splicing in genes of other species to give them different abilities.
That's why the cards have dotted lines on them. Those are for the stickers.
Aside from a walkthrough of how to play the game will work, we also got to see some of the other accessories that come with the game.
We already talked about the miniatures and character cards tokens, but there's also a raptor claw you use to scratch things off on the cards, like lottery ticket scratch-offs.
And the dice is an amber color and looks like to have bugs in it. And there are Mr. DNA tokens that use to signify different things on the game board.
Last, there will be an instruction book keyring with cards of the various rules and situational instructions.
So if someone is in a building doing a thing, you can just pop that card off and hand it to them.
For playtime, each adventure is averaging about 2 hours, ranging from 90 to 150 minutes, according to the Funko Game team's playtesting.
Which would be something between 20 to 30 hours for the 12 adventures?
All in all, there's a lot going on with Jurassic World: The Legacy of Isla Nublar, and it all looks like it could be a promising game.
Yeah, the folks at Funko really seemed excited for what they've created.
I think it was pretty unanimous with our group that we're going to be picking up copies, and hopefully it's as good as it looks.
Rules for tabletop games can often be dense and hard to follow, but hopefully with how long this team has been making games, they'll avoid that common hurdle.
It's nice to have that tutorial to get your feet wet in, too, instead of making mistakes in a permanent game. But we'll just have to wait to find out. But I'm definitely optimistic and looking forward to getting a copy.
The wait shouldn't be too long, though. The game will be launching on Kickstarter on March 22nd with an expected shipping in the fall.
It's going to be $120, and that will be the full game. No stretch goals, no additions, everything in the box for one price.
There will be a Kickstarter edition announced closer to the Kickstarter launch, though, but the core game will be the same.
If you're into the idea of Jurassic World: The Legacy of Isla Nublar, you can go to their Kickstarter, which is linked below, to get notified when it goes live.
And if you'd like to see more of the game and hear about it straight from someone on Funko Games' team, check out our Patreon for the full unedited and unVO'd version.
This video unlocks for just $1, but we got cool incentives at other tiers too, including early and special access to our Tabletop series bonus action.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out PodQuest every Thursday and bonus action every other Monday or Friday for patrons on your favorite podcast service.
And you can always find more of our content at www.one-quest.com. You can also help us by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. But if you can't support us there with your dollars, you can do things like subscribing to this YouTube channel, plus liking the video, or find us on your favorite podcast platform. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the fun places. Like us, subscribe to us, review us. Those things all help a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. You're already here, but our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. You can also find all that below this video. Easy links. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.
See yas.